Okay, there you go. This is gonna be a solo podcast, but if you guys want to hear my prediction for Jake Paul versus Hasim Rahman Jr., you're more welcome to stay. I will also touch on the social glove being canceled. Last week, last time I made my solo podcast, I actually made a whole prediction video. I break down each fight, try to get the storyline of each fight, and get my predictions, and ultimately, the whole thing was called off 2 days later. But so again, it's a solo podcast. I'm gonna have this whole thing up, so you want to listen to it fully. If you're on there, if you just want to listen to it live, you're more welcome. So right now I'm talking about Jake Paul versus Hasim Rahman Jr. My prediction. Yeah, man, not having social glove Saturday kind of I was looking forward to it. Um oh yeah, if you guys was around when I tried to do the Andy Worski interview, we got through some technical difficulties. Andy's phone for some reason didn't have a mic option, so he could hear it but he couldn't talk. So we're gonna try to reschedule that. Um I actually took PTO, Saturday in anticipation of social glove. And now it ain't happening, so I have a free Saturday off. So since today's tour space didn't go well, I'm gonna do one Saturday. I'm gonna try to make it up to you guys and for myself because I just love, talking about all this. So with that said, let's talk about the. So let's talk about the main event: Jake Paul versus Hasim Rahman Jr. This fight, I honestly don't know why this fight's happening. In my opinion, even if it is Jake Paul versus Hasim Rahman Jr., they should push back the event and not in MSG. Because you go look on Ticketmaster or anywhere selling tickets, it's like half. It ain't even half sold. Pardon me, like 60% empty. So yeah, tickets is not flying out. Hasim, he's doing his best to try to sell out, but the whole thing with Jake Paul is okay. Is this the fight he gets knocked out? Is this the fight he gets shut up? Is this the fight where he get his comeuppance? Is this the fight when he finally gets knocked out? And with Team Rotten Jr., and again, I'm happy for Hasim. I'm happy that he's getting this big opportunity. He's getting the bag. Even though he wants more money, which is what this whole pay me more. He just wants the $2 million that Tommy Fury is offered. Sorry, you're not getting that bag. You just that's not because J. Paul or Tommy Fury MSG was sold out half by now, or at least 7%, if not 8% by now. Um, yeah, I really think this event should have been pushed. And for people who don't know, Jake is with the Zone, and KSI is with KSI with the Zone, Jake is with Showtime. I think it'd been so funny to have both of them on the same day, because that's how the streaming wars for like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc. The real streaming wars in boxing, the Zone, and Showtime. Well, Fox slash Showtime, they don't like each other and they talk shit about each other, whatever. I think it been a perfect opportunity to have them both go head to head because that's boxing can be like that. Truthfully, that's how boxing was. I think right before the pandemic, like you would see Golden Boy, Matchroom Boxing, Top Rank, and Showtime all on the same Saturday, all at the same time. Honestly, so I think that would just been a little fun. But yeah, tickets is not selling well. I was in Madison Square Garden again. Jake versus Tommy. I don't know if that would have sold out the Garden, but it was sold out a lot more now. Um, But again, Hasim, he's doing his best to, make some headlines, dress some sound bites. And he's doing interviews, so shout out to him. He's getting a lot more interviews this time than his last fight, that's for sure. So happy for him. Pay-per-view wise, I have no idea how much this is gonna sell. At $60. And the fun thing about it is I wanted to go to the fight, but with the current state of the airport, they have so many flights getting canceled, delayed, that I'm like, it ain't worth it. And not only that, this undercard really isn't good. Let's keep it a buck. Amanda's fighting. All right. Nobody cares who she's fighting. Um, Aston Seal, the newest member of MVP, he's fighting. We really don't know. So that fight's It was rumored that Glenn Big Baby Davis, another retired NBA player, he was supposed to fight. It's funny. Once all the Nick Young, Adrian Peterson versus Le'Veon Bell was on Social Glove, Jake stopped promoting the Big Baby. I think Jake said, "Damn, I'm the only one putting former athletes on my card anymore." So I noticed that. So I doubt Big Baby's gonna be fighting. But yeah, this is a bad undercard, man. Like people talking about how the main event isn't worth $60. No, it's the whole undercard isn't worth 60. Truthfully, I much rather have put this on Fox. Put this on Fox. See if Jake Paul can bring in millions of viewers on basic television. Let's see if Jake Paul can bring 2 or 3 million people on Fox. So yeah, at Madison Square Garden, man, it's gonna be empty. Pay-per-view numbers, I have no idea. Um, but again, Jake Paul versus Woodley, it did 65,000 for satellite and cable. But once digital came in, they did around 300,000. Now again, Tank Davis' last fight against Rolly Romero, that only that didn't even hit 300K. It's like 270. So Showtime, PBC fighters, they're really selling per-views. So with Jake versus Hasim, they kind of need this to sell out because that'd be 2 back-to-back events where they lose money. Because yeah, Jake said they actually took a loss with Willie 2 in Tampa, and this is most definitely gonna be a loss. Even Jake wins again, like out financially, business wise, it's gonna be a loss. That's what they're hoping to have Nate Diaz for next year. So let's talk about a little bit about the story. Jake and Hasim used to be sparring partners, and that was years ago. I think when he was getting ready to fight Gibb. Then years later happened. We both go to separate ways, and then they make this date. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, Madison Square Garden, and everybody had a feeling is Tommy gonna be for real. Unfortunately, he wasn't for real, and we saw what happened. And so they was scrambling. I think Jake himself had to talk to everybody and couldn't find an opponent on such short notice. And you can't blame him. You do want a full count. I seen I don't know, he was in shape. I think he saw the opportunity and said, "Yo, I'll take it." Um, I seen his profile has risen, win, lose, or draw. If let's talk about the wins and losses before I talk about how we got here. So they were just scrambling for an opponent for August 6th, Madison Square Garden, and they found one. They found a heavyweight who's son of a heavyweight boxer. It isn't Tommy Fury, who's son of John Fury, who pretends he was heavyweight champion. No, Jake's fighting a son, who is the son of a former heavyweight champion, two-time heavyweight champion. So again, it's a much tougher fight. It probably give Jake more respect. if he wins, but doesn't have half of the buzz that him versus Tommy would have had. And so with that, I think it's time to give my prediction. There's nothing that can convince me that Jake is gonna win this fight. It just is it. Jake's gonna be smaller. He's gonna have the less boxing knowledge. And I had Hasim's uncle, and I said Hasim has forgotten more about boxing than Jake has learned about boxing in I see 3-4 years. So Hasim's boxing IQ should triple what Jake's has. Now Hasim's coming down in weight, so he won't be as fast. But he was a heavyweight, so he wasn't that fast to begin with. He won't be as fast, as quick, whatever. But in my opinion, he will be fast enough and strong enough. He might lose a little bit of power, a little bit of strength, but he'll still be good. The only thing I can see happening is if Hasim gets tired. That's what happened in his last fight against Kenzie Morrison. He was winning the first 4 rounds, but then the fifth round happened, and he just got gas, and Kenzie just capitalized on it. So maybe Jake and his team sees that. Jay vs. Woolley went all 8 rounds. Jake vs. Woolley 2 went 6 rounds. So Jake has, he can go the distance. He can go to the judges if it, So I know the game plan is to, try to finish. Excuse me. I know we're gonna try to finish a scene in like the late rounds. But what happened? That's the million-dollar question. I don't see it. I see a scene for beating Jake via stoppage. What round? I think it'd be under 4. I really do. I think it'd be under 4 rounds. Again, and see what's funny is of all Jake's pro fights, all of them, he's always been the bigger dude. So been he had the more power, the more strength. So when he clocked somebody, they felt it. Well, his opponent's bigger than he is, heavier, and he'll be able to bully Jake around. And I think it's gonna be a rally check. A short term, when Jake lose, so if he gets stopped, and it may not even be a Nate Robinson stop, he might be stopped via body shot, whatever. But even if somehow he does get knocked out, he's gonna be clowned all weekend. Like whenever Conor McGregor gets knocked out, memes or making tweets, it was something like that. Weeks would go by, and then Nate Diaz will, some months will go by. Nate Diaz will have his final fight in the UFC done. He'll be a free agent, and then boom, Jake can go back fighting retired MMA guys and continue to make money. So that's where I think Jake is gonna go after the fight. Hasim, I have no idea where he goes. Um, when he and Jake was on cool terms, he said Jake can go after KSI. I'll go after Vidal. Maybe I see try for Vidal. If Hasim beats Jake, his profile name skyrocket. Now is he ready for world champions? No, he just got stopped a couple months ago, but his stock rises, and chances of him getting a Vidal right fight is looking nicer. Put it that way. And he's not even signed to Showtime, so Hasim could easily go over to fight Sky Sports. But that's what I have. I have Drake losing via stoppage under 4 rounds, and after the fight, everybody, the whole world gonna clown Drake, and hey, that's what happens. When he knocked out people, the world praised him, and when you lose, you gotta take the licks. So that's it. Tell me if they win. Let's talk about that. If Drake somehow wins and wins via stoppage. I know the Drake versus KSI talk is going to rise up. And funny enough, let's talk about that. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the long pause. I had to catch it real quick. But yeah, if Jake wins and somehow wins by knockout, or maybe he does outbox him, whatever. The KSI versus Jake Paul talk will rise, but only from the YouTube side. If Jake Paul beats a pro boxer, all the pro boxers gonna all right continue to fight pro boxers. Fight Anderson Silva, who is technically a boxer. Fight Tommy Fury. Fight even Vidal, whatever. There will be certain people in the boxing world who be like, "Why are you going backward, Jake?" KSI's gonna have his first fight in 3 years, and gets asked Wasabi, "Why are you going backwards?" So that's gonna be a clash of because, of course, YouTube boxing my bread and butter. But I follow boxing as well, so I follow other boxing people. So it's gonna be very interesting. Because if Jake wins, him versus KSI are gonna be talked about. But everybody in pro boxing world is gonna be saying, Jake, why are you going backwards? Continue to fight pro boxers. Why are you going to fight KSI? And we all can say, oh, it's gonna be a big fight. These pro boxing medias or pro boxers don't care about KSI versus Alex Wasabi at the O2. They just don't. But if Jake wins, he'll get their respect. And now, can Jake go ahead and fight KSI? Oh yeah, absolutely. Because money talks. But in some people's eyes, he'll be going backwards. And I've seen if he was somehow lose back to back, even get stopped back to back, that'd be horrible. He'll be in history. If Hasim wins, he's gonna be in history. He's gonna be the first pro boxer to shut up Jake Paul, beat him, etc. If he was to lose, that's a stain on his career, a stain on his family legacy, etc. Now he can continue to have boxing fights, but that loss is always going to hang over him. It always is. In the UFC, excuse me, you said the same thing about McGregor. He lost to Nate Diaz. That was over him. And he lost to Floyd and whatever. Jose Aldo, he lost to McGregor. Jose Aldo, who won the greatest featherweight of all time, lost in 30 seconds. People started looking different. He had become a champion again to kind of get that stank off, that dark cloud. But yeah, that isn't getting talked about right now because I think everybody just assumes Drake's gonna lose. But man, if I see him lose, man, he'd be the first pro boxer to lose to Jake. The first pro boxer. Um, yeah, I don't see it happening. I see Jake losing via stoppage under 4 rounds. And for people who's here listening to Tour Space Live, this whole podcast, I'm gonna have this whole episode upload on YouTube. Um, as you guys know, I on the Hey Punch Tour Space, I interview fighters, etc. But this time I can kind of like give my whole in-depth breakdown. So, I just gave mine for Jake versus Scene. The co-main event, the men fight, I really don't care. It's funny how men literally was in the main event at Madison Square Garden, made history months ago, and now she's back and people don't really care. You know, that kind of shows like, hey, it all depends who your dancing partner is. It all depends who she fights, but her fight, I could really care less. No respect to her, she's an all-time great, but in female boxing, but I don't really care. Um, Aston Sill, I want to see how he looks like. He's a future of MVP, most valuable promotion. So, but besides that, I have no idea, man. This undercard's week. That's another reason why I didn't want to go. Number one, because the East Coast, the weather's crazy. Airports canceling flights and shit. But I was like, man, do I want to pay thousands of dollars? Remember, people who don't know, I'm not a full time content creator. I got number 5. I spent $1,000 total, flights, hotel, get some decent seats at the venue. All $1,000. Do I want to spend $1,000 for Jake versus Hasim, one fight? No. If the weather wasn't bad in the airport, I would have went. I probably was like, damn, why spend all this money? I would have like, damn, why spend all this money? But it worked definitely, swing by. Ticket prices normally it's nothing in boxing. Because some people know in UFC they've done 21 consecutive sort events in boxing. Excuse me. I was gonna say in boxing, however, it's a little bit different. They're not always sold out. So during the final fight week, maybe the final press conference, or weightings, etc., the prices go down because they say, you know what, some is better enough, and we might not be able to sell the full amount, maybe half amount on discount. So if you're in the New York area, maybe wait till like Tuesday, Wednesday, not Thursday to try to see if you get some, you know, the ticket sales like flash in half and etc. So okay, that's Jake versus Asim. I'm gonna try to get somebody in Asim's camp on the tour space this weekend. Since I couldn't do one earlier today, I want to do one with Hasim, but he's busy. So right time, right place. So you guys stay right here. I'm gonna get a quick drink of water. Talk about the uh, event of Gibb versus Austin being called off. All right, man. Let's talk about the unfortunate event of Jake versus I'm just gonna be of Gibb versus Austin being called off. That's another event, man. Like probably should have been Staples Centers because their ticket sales is going worse than Jake is. You go on Jake versus Scene, there are tickets sold. It's not like half sold, whatever. But I can tell you that like Gibb versus Austin, at least 8% was available, maybe even higher. So you can imagine that ticket prices be slashed. Remember I said in a lot of boxing events they will slash the price in half. They might do buy only with free tickets. His social club was still going on. Ticket sales was poor. Pay per view tickets was poor. So, but with that said, I was really looking forward to social clubs to the whole event. I was watching the press conference. I was watching some videos, guys giving interviews. I started to get a little bit, excited. All right, Drake versus, I mean, damn, he's a Jake. He versus, pretty big fight. Well, I don't know about big, but important fight. Actually, it was an important fight. Um, they says head injury. I haven't been able to watch the Leon and Vidal video on their podcast. I think it's called the Realist podcast. Oh, the Real. Apologize if I got it incorrectly. But I think Leon said like Gibb wasn't hurt, or he could have fought, etc. And I do want to talk about this. Even if Gibb could have been cleared in London, in Florida, whatever, that's fine. Unfortunately, he was fighting in California, so none of that mattered. If if Gibb was Austin happened in Florida, I don't think that would have happened. 'Cause a lot of shit happens in Florida. Um, you can tell by Holyfield versus Vitor Belfort and Driller. That should tell you right there. Um, but yeah, I think if it was in London, Gibb probably would be able to fight. However, they're in California. They're very, very strict, which on one hand, I'm happy. If Gibb does have a brain, whatever, he's not fully healed up, he needs to heal up 100% before he gets any more damage. Because besides Austin, behind Jake Paul, Gibb is the most experienced and wear and tear YouTube boxer. Um, I believe Goodell said that he met Gibb in 2017. Because as we know, Joe Weller versus KSI was in early 2018. So Gibb has been doing this since 20, I think mid to late 2017. He's been doing this since so out of everybody, Jake, Logan, Slim, etc., longer than all of them. But he's had second most fights behind Jake. So what we're seeing is the unfortunate side of boxing, not YouTube boxing. It's the injuries, it's the damages, it's not being healed up properly. That we see with a lot of these athletes. A lot of athletes, when they wear and tear on their body, they just can't heal up, you know, properly. If you watch the NBA, there are 82 games in the row season. If you're hurt, a lot of times they try to tough it out. And, sometimes they can get away with it, sometimes they can't. In NFL, there's, I think, is it 17 games now or 18? I believe 18 games now. Uh, Boom. You have a game on Sunday, you have 1 week to rest. Not really, you got practice, content practice. So boom, you're like, well, the players coming up, I want to tough it out. Boom, you can make the injury worse. So that's why I really want to give to, and especially this is like head, the brain. So you you only have one brain. You have one head, one brain. You cannot fuck that up. You can break a bone and it can heal. And you can break a brain. I break a brain, especially if it's bleeding. So I'm disappointing. Gibb versus Austin McBroom get canceled, but in the long term, I might wait a couple months. And truthfully, the most attention that Social Wells 2 got was when the event was canceled. As crazy as that is, like when Austin Broom said the fight's off, I posted on Twitter, went viral, everyone's posting about it, gives a response, Austin's the lead tweet. And fun enough, it makes people care about the fight if they are able to reschedule it in September. I think right now it's September 10th or something like that. It's a quote unquote rumor date. Um, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully by then, Gibb was fully healed. I believe he is. I don't think he had that much damage. There are pro boxers 50 or amateur fights before ever going pro boxer. So Gibb doesn't have that much damage, but they're probably the commission, California Commission, like, all right, these YouTubers, these celebrities, we don't want to get real damage. So I think they're looking out for you. So yeah, guys, man, this thing this Saturday was supposed to be Social Clubs too. Unfortunately, it's another Saturday. But, you know, hopefully that events get rescheduled soon. I believe that's gonna be it for today's episode. Again, probably next week I'm gonna give my prediction and breakdown of the entire Misfits card. Truthfully, and I do not want to jinx it, I kind of want to wait to get closer There's 7 fights announced, and on every single YouTube boxing event, there's one fight to get called off. Every single one. And I told people in the past that, oh no, it's gonna be different. And of course, there's fans of the YouTubers, they don't understand boxing. But no, injuries can happen at any time. They could be fine Monday, and by Wednesday, got pulled out for whatever reason. So fingers crossed, nothing happens with Misfits. Because man, this has been a shaky year. So many events have been canceled. Many fights have been called off. So again, that's gonna do it for today. I am Fight Lounge. I'm on IG and Twitter on Fight Lounge. And yes, as you can see, this is a solo podcast. So, of course, I do the Hey Punch promotions to Space where I interview the fighters or coaches or managers, etc. This one, I still like to be able to like break it down, get my in-depth take on the whole thing. Um, so yeah, next week, and again, everything changes in YouTube boxing. Next week, I get my Misfits um, boxing event. Hopefully, I'll be able to talk to people in the Hasim Rahman's camp, interview them. And yeah, so yeah, DM me who you are to me, who you would like me to interview on the Hidden Punch career space. I'm always open to people and ideas and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.